Where to go with that? Okay, so I'm going to move up a little bit to show you where we are. So in the section of the document where we start, this is basically the study process, right? And so, we talk about the existing protections, and again, I promised, and I am going to clean this section up, so, because again, well, promises. But at any rate, so this is the setup of the process. But then down here, once we talk about the various planning efforts, then I had kind of added in this discussion about the, kind of the limitations of the reservoir size and what we can do with it. Right. But that's really not process, right? So I've added to this, and what I'm going to do, I think, is take this section out so I've added the recommendations into this discussion, and I'm going to move them down into the recommendations section.
Okay.
I don't think it needs to be here. I'll have to think about that a little bit because this paragraph did set it up, set up the discussion on the recommendations, but I don't think but we were going to duplicate it because, these things are connected. So at any rate, so I think I'm going to take these 3 paragraphs and move them down, and then I can just embellish them a little bit, and that will, address both the vision and master area plan, and also the area-wide management council. I'll just add some things to that, unless you think it needs to be here, but it's really not. I mean, this was supposed to be the process, and although we, talked about these issues, that's really not process.
I'm happy to take a look at it and give you my 2 cents on it between now and tomorrow.
I think that's fine, because you're, again, every time I get back, yes.
Because I'm trying to make stuff flow. So why don't you leave stuff that you've added in, leave it in. I have to sit at my car dealer tomorrow morning for a while, so I'll bring the 12, 15 pages and hang there, and I can just read how it flows and see if where it should go, maybe.
Yep.
I'm happy to do that.
And I did find the acreage there. I sent to you, Marlene. I don't know if it wasn't on Jeff's comments here, and I don't remember.
Yeah. I don't know if I remember that number. So
that was a different day. That was right before I sent you to see if you got it. I think it's like 470 acres.
Okay, I'll look for that.
But it was the next day I put it on there.
Okay. I'll find it.
Where this says 2.
Yeah, I think we have 240 or something.
240,
like that.
and I think and I have it at the store because I don't have it here. It was like 470. It came on I got it from the city's map, whatever they call that.
Yes, the
location map. What is it called?
Map Geo.
Maybe
Map Geo. So Marlene. Anyway, so I thought this should be moved down. Anyway,
okay.
So see what you think. Move down into recommendations. But and then embellish some, and I'm glad to start embellishing them. So at any rate, I'll stop sharing that.
Okay.
So where do you think it needs? I mean, obviously it needs those 2 recommendations dealt with at the end, the vision and master plan, and it needs the management area recommendation and discussion on that. So that what else do you think is the high level need?
Yeah, the one thing I haven't figured out what to say or where to add it is the how it's going to pay for itself idea.
Yeah, I saw that. That's just kind of hanging out there at the very end.
So I'm kind of fussing in my brain of where the appropriate place in the doc is to stick it. And I want to try to be, I don't want to be, I don't want to have somebody get their expectations out of whack that there's some way they're going to make, that somebody's going to make a lot of money here. But just
Yeah.
that, in the context of looking at all this stuff, the best opportunity to create any fund off of, bringing more people in and doing more things is if it's part of the area-wide plan. And it's likely not going to be Whiting Street Reservoir. It's likely going to be other stuff that it's
Right.
attached to.
Absolutely.
I don't see any money being made by any of that. I think whatever they can sell for water, you're not talking big money there, I don't think. And selective tree cutting, which they've done in the past. I mean, that kind of stuff is sustainable. I mean, it's something that's been ongoing. The water department has used it. And I think, any of these other things, renting this or that that's just pie in the sky that I don't see happening, in the Holyoke area in general, never mind the Whiting Street Reservoir.
No, and I mean, and there's some, fund off of the, doing a conservation restriction. Although Dave thinks I used it too much, so I need to kind
Yeah,
of
I saw that comment, yeah.
So
go through and use that.
I mean, yeah, the money from the conservation restriction. I mean, that could be some money, but it's it's not huge in the
And
longevity.
it's one shot. You're not going to do something with,
I mean, it's worth a shot, I think, to do that. And I think, back, in one of my comments about the reservoir being in Northampton when it was created, the state legislature, allowed us to annex that property. So, I mean, that same kind of thing we were talking, that the city, okays it, and the state legislature by 2/3 vote, can, take that reservoir out of a public, domain. That can happen. I mean, because it happened.
it already happened in
It
the
already
area.
happened, and I found the actual boundary in the sidewalk on Northampton Street, where the property line was, and it's, between River Terrace and Wyckoff Avenue, closer to Wyckoff Avenue, right down to there, belonged to Northampton until 1909,
Wow.
including all of Mount Tom, all of, all the way up the line. So
it's really interesting. And what year was that?
1909. What happened was that Wyckoff, whatever his first name was, from White and Wyckoff Stationery. I mean, I think he owned all of that land where Wyckoff Park is there. And there was a fire, and I think it was in the Holyoke Canoe Club, which was further down the line than it is now. And they weren't able to respond. The Northampton Fire Department said, the road's too bad, we can't do it, you're on your own. And I think a spark from a train actually ignited it. So I think that Wyckoff called the Holyoke Fire Department. They came up. By the time they got there, this is after the fact that Northampton was involved in it. They just kept it from going to the surrounding buildings. I think it was climbing up little telephone poles from the railroad. So he's the one that actually got the ball rolling to annex the Northampton property.
That's cool.
And I mean, he must have had a pretty good pull.
Yeah, you think? I mean, come on, that's a big, come on, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of acreage.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's huge. It's a huge amount.
So here we are with a Holyoke Reservoir that was clearly on Northampton land when it was built.
Wow.
And that's probably why the deed is so elusive.
Yeah, I think that makes
exactly
tremendous
right.
amount of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, if the legislature can take some land away from a town, maybe you can take a reservoir away from us without a conservation restriction. And that might be a good point.
Yep. Yeah. So I think, I need to mess around. I need to think that through, like where in the doc, and I don't know, that could be in the research of things that there's no, without considering this part of a broader, how about this, if I just suggest somewhere in the area wide, surrounding area, that the notion of the reservoir being a source of, a source of revenue on its own.
I actually think it fits best. I mean, I'm looking at it now, trying to think about that.
Sue
I
Ellen's here.
actually, oh yeah, great. So I actually think it might fit best right after we talked about the current, the planning efforts. Hi, Sue Ellen.
Hi,
Hi,
Sue
Sue.
Ellen.
Sorry, I'm late.
Okay. Happy to see you.
Happy to be seen.
Sociably late.
I used to use that line all the time, but I suspect you used it long before I did.
You used it too much, you wore it out.
Yeah.
One last thing about the annexation, and we paid Northampton $55,000 for it, and had to fix the road from Holyoke to Northampton for whatever that cost, $10,000. Just so, Ellen, we're talking about the annexation of Northampton property to Holyoke in 1909, which included the reservoir and Smith's Ferry.
Wow, I didn't know a thing about that.
Yep, and now it's in our report.
Now it's in our report. Yeah, there was briefly, there was a fire at the Holyoke Canoe Club, which was further down than where it is now. Northampton wouldn't or couldn't, and absolutely did not respond. That Wyckoff, whatever her first name was, from White and Wyckoff, which is a pretty good roller in the city, got our fire department to go up and respond. And he went down to our state legislature and said, we need to annex this property. And no sooner than he said it, it got done. In June
Wow.
of 1909, we paid $5,000 to Northampton and maybe $10,000 to fix the road. And Northampton property was ours. So
That's a huge, that's huge. So how did East Hampton end up in between? East
Hampton isn't, yeah, there is a little bit there in there.
Oh yeah, there's no question. There's the whole Oxbow.
Yeah,
and
that
all
whole
that.
Reservation Road thing.
Yeah. So, and of course that's a different, and they're not to mention they're different counties,
Maybe East Hampton was part of Northampton. I don't know.
I think it must have been. And
you can see where the Holyoke line ends by Competitive Edge there. But I guess that's East Hampton on the other side of that sign, right?
it is absolutely
That is East Hampton.
And is there Northampton, entering Northampton sign somewhere? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. It's on the other side of the Oxbow, pretty much up by, when you get, where those, I think it's just on the other side of the Oxbow. I mean, it's probably where Mill River comes through.
Okay.
So, it's not a large area, portion.
No.
But
Yeah, maybe East Hampton was part of Northampton. Certainly in the same county.
Yeah. It's interesting. So.
So Jeff, where were you were suggesting?
Well, I was thinking about, I'm just ruminating over it, just like you are. But it needs to be, I think, in the study process sections. It's that we start off in the study process with existing protections, and then we go down to planning efforts. And right now, under planning efforts, like I say, I suggest taking out the discussion that really is recommendations and just talking about, what was done. And then, you talk about the PVPC research. I guess that does still need to stay under planning, because that's more research. And so I don't know where you want to leave it under that heading or not, but I suspect after that and before surrounding area considerations, because surrounding area considerations get into a lot of the discussion of our findings in the meetings and all, right? And so I think you're better off having it before that. So probably, I think I would put it just before surrounding area considerations, and just stick it in there, because these are things we considered. We considered the surrounding area and all the residents. We did research to understand the allowable uses, and the protections, and this and viable revenue considerations, probably should go, in my view, before surrounding area considerations. Yes, you're getting blinded by the light, I see.
I am, but I think I've moved okay. I don't know what you guys can. I'm sort of here.
But it could go in a couple places, but I think might be best there, because I think the surrounding area considerations lead best to the recommendations, at the end.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about, because it still holds the process together, right?
Yep.
That's all process. And that last piece.
I don't know if I could add anything at all, but I don't have any of that on my screen here, so I can't even think about it.
All right.
I can share my screen, but
I can share mine. Let me just
go ahead. Why don't you do that?
It's a little out of my expertise, but it'd be nice to see it, I guess.
Okay, can you see this?
We're not seeing anything yet.
Okay.
I hear a clock ticking in the background, which sounds just about right.
That's my clock, I think.
That's good. It's perfect for waiting for Marlene's screen to show up.
It's the one that doesn't keep good time, though.
There, I think I got it.
Yeah, you do.
All right, so let me just, I put a little note here, but want me to scroll back to the beginning?
Sure. Yeah. Do you want to talk about? Do you just want to go through the document quickly?
Yeah, let's go through the doc.
Just to say what you think we still need and who's going to do it, just to make sure.
So I think we're good on the first page stuff.
And also for you guys, since you guys have been looking at this and talked about it, if you have quick thoughts about, where we are on these pieces. So we're good with the recommendations now and the tasks and recommendations, seems like.
I think we're good. So introduction, no biggie. I added the paragraph about Smith's Ferry and Holyoke purchasing Smith's Ferry.
Yeah, I think that's a nice little addition there. I think you should add and required road repairs.
Yeah, that was part of it. I didn't want to make it too wordy, but yeah, they were.
Okay, I'll put that in. Yeah.
And repair the road between Northampton and Holyoke. Or improve the road, maybe.
Cool.
That's funny. That's June 9th is Vic's birthday.
That's awesome.
I'll remember that date.
Probably not the 1909 one.
Yeah, would you settle for 32?
Yeah, that's a pretty good run.
Settle for
I'd say.
32.
I'd say that's a pretty. I'd say that's a pretty good run.
You want to take out road after Holyoke?
Yeah,
Right.
like, what did I do? Northampton and Holyoke.
How's Vic doing?
Pretty well. I think he needs more to do.
I would think you could provide him with that, but I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to get too involved in that personally, but still.
Let's see. So I know Dave sent me a couple of thoughts in an email, but he said he was going to work on some language. So I left this note for us here for Dave on the waterwork stuff.
Yeah, I saw that. Saw a few notes, delinquencies for me too.
Hey, Marlene, I don't know if I didn't notice one way or the other, but at the beginning of the history, we were talking about our national park, and we had there on there. And
Now it's our national park.
yeah, okay, you did catch that. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's our everything, not theirs.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's ours, not theirs.
okay, thank you.
So this is just, the whatever historical information we have. I don't think a lot of people know about the Smith's Ferry stuff, so I think this will be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's
Interesting.
nice. Yeah, I think it adds some weight.
So one thing here, and I want to make sure this non-motorized vehicles, is there something besides bikes that we want to put in there, or I don't know enough about the different kinds of bikes and electric bikes and non-electric bikes, and whether we need to differentiate or just say
Well,
bikes
probably-
are okay.
We're probably gonna have, the water department owns the reservoir. They're gonna have to figure it out, I think, but there are different assisted or non-assisted bicycles. And somewhere on here, and again, I don't have in front of me about somebody said they could put a kiosk there for the Valley Bike for their,
Yeah, that was in the recommendations.
yeah. Now, if I can back up to the 1970s when the oil embargo came about and we were selling mopeds. And the thing was mopeds for going back and forth to work, for commuting, like that. We sold probably 100 mopeds, and I'm not sure even one went for somebody commuting to work. They were toys. So I think if you put that kiosk by the reservoir with a gravel road, these things can probably go 20 miles an hour, pedal assist, and they have thin tires that are made for the street, I believe. And my guess is we're going to get kids or people that just want to go out and, like go for a swim. They're going to take these things and rip around here for an hour. And is that going to interfere? I think it is, with people, walking and jogging and, with their
Yep.
carriages. I think we have to think about that, how we want to word that, because it's our recommendation, and we're recommending them putting that in there, and they do that. We got to be sure that that's going to be a good thing, not a detriment.
Right.
I think,
So-
frankly, I would just take it out.
Okay.
I agree. I don't see how to quite rectify it there.
There.
Yeah, that's something that's going to have to be developed by, whomever and whenever that this thing gets going, that however this recreation portion of this is going to play out. Maybe it's going to play out doing just what we're doing now, exactly what we're doing now, without enhancing it. We don't know.
All right. I just took it out.
It's still there.
So there for you.
There you go. Done.
Okay.
I still see it in red with a line through it.
It is, but when I
Well,
accept all
that-
changes, it'll go away.
Okay.
Those are just reminders.
I can't, I don't, well.
Don't worry about it now. I wouldn't.
There you go. There,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
did it. It's gone.
Beautiful.
Until somebody else brings it up again.
What about pedal assist bikes?
What kind of bikes?
Pedal assist.
Pedal assist. Well, I mean, those bikes are actually pedal assist, but they can go fairly fast.
They go fast. Yeah.
Someone had a pedal assist bike because they couldn't ride a bike because they weren't strong enough. That's one thing, but I don't know how you differentiate, for somebody that needs it, for somebody that just wants to baja around there and tear up the dirt.
Yeah.
I think even in our neighborhood here, and over by the store, I've seen kids on these things, no helmets, and somehow they go up to the kiosk and put their credit card in. And I mean, I saw two kids, one was probably like 12 years old, and whether it's sister or something sitting on the seat, and this one was, I'm thinking someone's gonna get killed here.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's only the beginning.
So my wife goes out on the reservoir there with her electric wheelchair, which probably isn't really allowed, but it's not, would not be cool to stop her.
No, but it depends upon what kind of wheels. I mean, because it's gravelly. I mean, there's certain areas that might be a little sketchy to go through, I would think.
Yeah, she has to watch it in the.
Yeah.
She gets stuck all over our property here, and I have to go pull her out.
I'm hoping this is Dave Moore, not like rando Dave.
Oh, that's Dave Moore.
Look at that guy.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave.
I haven't had to throw anybody off yet today.
Don't speak too soon.
I know.
You guys might throw me out.
Nah.
Not today.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Dave.
How's it
Dave.
going, Dave?
Good. Sorry I'm late.
No worries.
You forewarned us. What do you think needs to be done with the protect? There's too much. The protection section does need work, so I'm willing to take a look at that.
I mean, I'm happy to edit it. I just, I don't mind editing.
I would put all of the actual law in an appendix.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say very simply that there are several existing protections for the reservoir, but all of them can be reversed through one type of legislative action or another. And the only way that it can be completely protected would be through the use of a conservation restriction.
So yes, and I do remember seeing that written somewhere rather eloquently. I forget where I saw it now. I'm wondering, there's a lot of excess information in there, but do you want some information in here about this and not take all that out? That's the drinking water. Yeah. So, I mean, that's, yeah.
Well, I don't mind combing this back to like the bare minimum of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's, it's needed. It's nobody wants to read that crap. It sounds like,
Right.
it sounds like what it is.
I don't mind, if you don't mind English, I'll just like edit it to some,
Yeah.
In layman's terms, if you will.
layman's terms.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we'll have the full text in an appendix. And we should end it with that thought that Sue Ellen had. If you want to tell me that again, Sue Ellen.
Talking to me?
I am. So like,
Well, I would say there are multiple regulations governing the management and protection of water and water resources at the local, state, and federal levels.
but that said,
Okay, that said, all of them can be reversed through legislative action of one type or another. After serious review of these laws and with concern for the long-term protection of this natural resource, we find that only a conservation restriction offers permanent protection. Not more permanent, but permanent protection.
okay. So I'll edit some of the language, layman's terms, put in some that thought. And then we'll put the actual reg language in the appendix.
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah, 'cause like Jeff said, nobody's going to read that anyway.
right.
Well,
No, I
it's
just
hard-
stuck that in there. I pushed that stuff in there.
You know,
just-
it's hard to read, and it has to be available to the people that we are doing the report for. But it can be available in an appendix.
Oh, yeah, for
And
sure.
we can actually, Marlene, when you edit this, you can actually name the laws.
Yes,
Mass
Right,
Natural
Right,
Protection
I
Act.
think it's worth, I guess what I think I'd like to see here, and maybe you guys feel differently. I think I would put for each of these, that each of these protection, that these are the protections that are in place on the reservoir, and note each one, the drinking water protections and
Yeah.
kind of the objective of the law that addresses drinking water. The same thing with the Wetland Protection Act, and the same thing with Chapter 97. Kind of the just a two sentences on its purpose and why it's appropriate at the reservoir, I think. And that's all. It seems like we would be missing something if we didn't have that.
I agree with that.
And then I think the same thing.
Well, that would come first, and then this paragraph saying that only a conservation restriction
Right.
would provide long-term.
Right. And then you could have the three existing ones first that exist, and then you could have a potential, you would need a statement. Again, this becomes a little, I ran into this as well, and this is similar to the question I ran into when I was trying to enhance the discussion on the vision and master plan, and also on the area-wide management council. We had a discussion up above, but the discussion sounded just like our recommendation, right? So I'm wondering if, how much discussion happens here in the existing protections, which are, kind of part of the process, and how much of that about the CR gets moved down into the recommendation section. And that's where I saw some of that language that you were talking about.
right. I'm not gonna trying to not be repetitive here with some of that thinking, so maybe something that'll, we can discuss, our recommendations for how to move forward or.
Losing your voice,
Yeah,
Marlene.
yeah, your connection.
How's this?
That's much better. Thank you.
Okay, so how about like, I'm trying, in an effort to not be repetitive. I'll make some sort of mushy language.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that it goes to the recommendations, that it follows in the recommendations, what we think about SCR.
Yeah. So I think that would be great if you set up the discussion. You don't
Right.
have to say what it is, but just set it up. And because that's
Yeah.
exactly what I ran into.
Yeah, I'll set it
So we
up.
don't,
I don't want to be repetitive here if I can. help
because
it.
you could say what Sue Ellen said, that, that these protections alone are not enough. So the committee considered a conservation restrictions. And then,
How we consider moving forward is defined better in the recommendations or something.
yeah, I know we've discussed this before, but I guess when I read this again today, it seemed, Dave said it earlier today in an email. CRs all over the place, so
That Dave.
and
That Dave.
I do think it should be a clear recommendation, but I do think we should also give them a way out so that it doesn't look like they're trashing the recommendations in the report. Because if the report lands and the first big thing is, a major, again, I think we have to say it, that it would enhance protection. But I think we have to give them a way out in that the city could make a strong statement of, through the vision or something. We have to give them a way out is all I'm saying, and I think. But I know there's slightly differing opinions on this. I just wanted to express that when I read it again, it did seem like it's coming off as an important recommendation that Dave Conti will right away jump up and down and say this, it should be.
When is he leaving?
Right, December. He told us, he gave us a date, like December. He's leaving December 31st of this
Oh,
year.
not till December
Right, so it's after, so he will get the chance
to
weigh in
comment on
on
it.
this,
Okay.
right? And so I think I would just think about how we stated. I think that the city needs to make a stronger commitment toward,
Yep.
long-term and perpetual protection of this reservoir. We recommend that it should be done through, conservation restrictions, which will also have a limited revenue component. But if that cannot be done, then through the planning document or other mechanisms, the city has to state its strong commitment for the protection of this area. We have to say something like that. That's
Yes.
how I think I would suggest it, but I've said that before, and I don't know that.
Yeah. And
I don't think that comes here. I think that comes in the vision.
Yeah, we
could you
haven't,
repeat that, Swellen?
I don't think that statement comes here. I think it comes in the final wrap up.
It is certainly in the recommendations, Ellen. I'm sorry, I took us away from this to the CR, because we were talking about setting up the CR, and that took me to the discussion of the CR and how we address it. I just thought it would be helpful to think about as we're revisiting this, how we set it up. That's all. I'll stop there.
we haven't destroyed this area yet, but with less and less available land out there, it's only a matter of time where somebody's going to try and tweak their way into doing something with it, and unless we have that permanent protection, I would think.
Well, we were close to having a casino.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, amazingly close.
yeah. And there's, going forward, I mean, that whole area, like we're calling our national park, I mean, that whole thing needs to be conserved, I think. And, based upon what we've done in the past, I mean, we've done some nice things up there, but going forward, with all these, I mean, with less and less land available, there's gonna be more and more development. I think there's some room for development in that whole, Mount Tom area, but I mean, maybe not a lot. We need to, certainly protect the reservoir, I would say.
Okay,
I think where you're going, Jeff, is right. I think that, you gotta, unless you just want to throw this thing in a wastebasket, you gotta give them a way out. You gotta give them a solid, sound recommendation that this is a permanent, perpetual protection. But the idea that you mentioned about, but the city, above all things, the city, with that and without it, the city needs to understand they got a responsibility to protect this thing.
That's concise right there, Dave. That's a good statement right there.
Because if we make it an agenda, then I think we're wasting our time. But it's a lot of good work. I read the whole thing today. And
I'll
lot of
fuss
good-
around with some wording and send it out.
okay,
And Dave, you can too.
I didn't hear you, Marlene. I'm sorry.
And you may also.
Okay, I shall.
So Marlene, I'll send you what I,
Okay,
what I have, and I have some comments in there where I suggest, you move things, and I'm glad to take a look and help with some stuff. I'll find some time if if you feel like it would be helpful.
I'll send you that acres tomorrow morning, Marlene,
okay.
if you don't have it.
Yeah, I'll look around in emails. I'll send you an email, Harry.
Okay.
And this is where I'll do a paragraph on some of the revenue stuff before the surrounding area considerations.
Mhm.
Just the idea that there's not really
Nothing that makes sense.
nothing that makes sense here.
Yeah.
That's not going to cost you more to do than you get out of it.
Yeah, if it's gonna cost more than what you're gonna get out of it, it makes no sense.
Yep.
And it probably just kind of tramples the area and destroys it.
Do we think that we need to put in any more text around, we had sort of gotten all the ideas of all the people we spoke with, so these were the general areas of concern. Do we need to put more words in there, or is a bullet list okay, or what do you guys think?
I read it this morning. I thought that all shaped up fine.
Okay,
That's
So
my-
I did think that there might be some things that could be added, but I don't want to diminish. One thing I thought was the lack of communication among landowners, right?
Yeah.
But, but it might be more, it's kind of, it's probably cooperation is probably a better lack of cooperation among landowners.
correct.
Probably a better way. It's just, I mean, I have that comment in mind and I was going to send it to you,
okay,
Marlene, but again, it's longer than the other ones pretty, succinctly are able to be stated with one word, one or two words, and this, so we just have to think about it that way. The other thing that was stated by most, but probably not all, like I don't think David Shore said it, for instance. And that is, the protection of the area. And he probably even did. That's something that's not stated here, common concerns. But that was the biggest single thing that came out of the public meeting.
No question.
Well,
And so I just thought it was, I just thought those kind of two things
Okay,
seemed like they were missing when I.
now they're not.
Thank you.
Actually, Eric suggested putting a gate down by Castle Hill Apartments to keep everybody out of there.
He did.
Remember?
Yeah, oh, yes, that was, that got all our attention, I thought.
Yeah.
That's good. Now he can plow the road.
Yeah, well, he probably would be glad to plow the road.
Okay, now we're at the recommendations piece.
Right. And so I noticed there are really only two recommendations that are there so far. And I
Right.
have two, but hang on.
Well, I mean, so of the 5,
Because we parsed them differently, right?
right,
So you just have to make sure they're and the way they're shown here, Marlene,
Yeah.
it's remember the master plan comes before. The master plan is recommendation number 4, and the area-wide management plan is 5. So, and again, I have comments.
so like the first 2 recommendations, one was protection and one was assuring availability of so I can put these, so even though it's, I'm not sure how I would parse this into protection versus water, but maybe
I think I would deal with most of it the way you have it, and then I do think we need a recommendation 2 that talks about really what Dave Conti talked to us about. We might need a little more information on that if do you think it's worth asking him again,
Yes.
Dave?
So, Dave.
Yes,
so
I do.
To give him the recommendation that we're stating, and if he
Yes.
wants to write 3 sentences related to that, we might be able to.
Yeah, he's always asking me how it's going. He's still very interested. I'd like to do that.
Does it?
Yeah, I mean, he was talking about putting in the filtration and all that stuff. So, I mean, that kind of speaks to the availability of, the water resource for the community. So somewhere in there. Are you guys there?
Yep.
Yes, we're there. I'm just looking. I'm reading. You have the screen up, so I keep.
Yeah, I'm just reading.
Right. I'm trying to see how to parse those two. They're right now they are kind of intertwined.
So I'm gonna I can try to parse it, figure out how to parse it into 2 with some help from Dave maybe, or.
So for
Well,
instance,
there's
the
2 things. One is,
last narrative piece. Well,
yeah,
I'm not, no, I can't.
yeah. I mean, there are 2 things going on here. There's
Yeah.
protection and then there's, enabling there to be potable water through
Right,
filtration.
but we're using the water issue, the drinking water issue, as a justification for long-term protection. So it entwines the 2.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it would be, you know, we should keep it parallel if we can, you know, since
Yeah.
since people, you know, we tried to combine the two, right? And then people didn't want them combined.
Right.
And so we made them two separate recommendations again, so.
Okay. So
One
the
step
parsing,
forward and
yeah,
one
so somehow parsing it between the protection and the water as a resource.
yeah,
Okay. So then this will be 3.
yeah, there will be 3, and then I'll work on the other. I can work on the other 2 unless you want to
No, here you go.
first. Okay. And again, I'll send you what I have now, just so I can get your read on.
I'll look at it careful too. I do better work with it when I'm sitting here alone with it. Starting to look real good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we've got most of the meat in here. It would look better if I had pumped in those other 2 recommendations. But
Yeah, I think what Dave said on the email today about taking Wyckoff off of that might be a good idea.
You got to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we're setting them up.
Well, we're setting ourselves up.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
There, it's gone.
But remember that. So I thought we said that we're gonna move this discussion up into the
Yep.
body
Right.
and not leave it hanging off here as recommendations, right? They're
That'd be
not,
fine.
you know,
Then it
it's-
would be fine.
It's just right. It's just a discussion, so we can talk about that was, you know, discussed, but that's a complicated issue that.
Yeah, it isn't, nor the revenue nor the angst is not worth making a recommendation on.
Right.
Okay.
And it could be listed as, yeah, you know, like one of a series of things we can
Yes.
see that really isn't going to pan out, you know.
Yeah.
And none of those will be appropriate if it becomes, comes back online.
Right.
Okay.
I don't have anything else to add. I'll send you the comments I have though, Marlene, and you can.
Okay.
You've captured pretty much all of them here.
Yeah, end to end, I mean, beginning to end, it's getting to be a real good document, Marlon, really good.
Oh, for God's sake. City of Holyoke calling me. What did Holyoke do? That's usually parking. Winter parking.
Winter parking.
Okay. So I'll go through, make some changes. Send it out.
Sad news. Lynn just told me there was another elementary school shooting somewhere
God.
in Texas.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
It's
came
just
up on
terrible.
yeah, at least 2 dead.
14 kids, I think.
Where?
In Texas, I don't know where. I don't.
Uvalde, Texas, UVALDE.
It's terrible.
2
Yeah.
hospitals involved.
14 kids and some adults. It popped up in here a minute ago
Hick.
and left in 5 seconds, so I didn't really see it.
What is wrong with it?
What is wrong with us is right.
Yep.
All right. So when do we want to have a meeting? And again, you guys.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
June's
got it.
June's breathing down our neck.
Yep. All right.
Okay. I'll take a look and I'll send you some more stupid comments. Okay.
I'll
That'd
send
help us all.
sometime tomorrow. I'll send out some version of this so
Okay,
that you
cool.
have the latest version.
Thank you.
That'd be great because I would like to take fool around a bit.
Okay.
We're talking June 7th?
Okay with me.
I
Sure.
think so. I should check. Let me check.
Oh, details.
Okay.
Okay, nothing on my calendar. Yay.
Yay. 7th, you say?
Yep.
Okay, give me 1 second. Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
I guess
Good.
I'm
Looks like I can do it too.
I will send a note out. I'll send the report as it is with the comments that we added tonight. I'll send it out.
Okay.
Hey, I'll send you within the next 15 minutes what I have, so.
Okay.
And I'd love to get together with you to go to do editing if you want to.
I would like that. So let's figure that out too.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Next
It'd
week,
be nice to really polish this thing up and have a
Right.
discussion about the things that are still.
I'm
And
not going to
bring
be
it to
around
the
next
whole
week, but I'll be here like that Monday, the 6th.
That might be a good time.
I was looking at starting with Monday, the 30th.
I'm not going to be in
Ah.
town, but I'm happy to take all help. I'm
The
trying to go to
following-
Rhode Island.
The following week is the week that we're having the meeting.
Yeah. So I was going to say Monday. I can do Monday, the 6th.
And then we can and we can resolve everything that we want to bring to the team for the following.
Yeah.
Night. That might be a good idea. If that,
That'll give people a chance to go through and do whatever composition they want to do.
we
Okay,
can present, we can then present it, Sue Ellen, on the following night and see where people are and then put the final touches on it. That might be workable.
and you suggest maybe at that point, I would take a draft to Mr. Conti.
I think you should ask Dave now. I would take the recommendation as written
Yep.
related to the protecting the
Okay, yep,
just for the as a water source and
Yes.
see if he would provide why that needs to be done.
fine,
That's what we really want from him. Why that needs to be done.
okay,
And what it means. Is it going to be a potable reservoir? Is it going to be for some other use? I'm not,
okay.
at least that's what I would suggest.
I'll do that.
Okay.
All right. I am putting both those days on my calendar, the 6th and 7th.
You got it.
Marlene and Sue Ellen.
And I'll cut out the recommendations and I'll set something up with Dave and give him a shot at it. But I'll do it in person so he doesn't wander off into.
He doesn't throw something at you.
We'll leave that to you.
Oh, thanks a lot. Yeah. And got conservation restriction hell. Okay, we got to keep him out of there.
Well, I don't even know if I would show him that.
I'm not going to
that
show
one,
him that.
But
It's
I mean,
crazy.
that's your, hey, I'm not, you can do that if you want, but
I'm
you
not
can
gonna do
soften
that.
him up on that. You can tell him,
No, this is specific, and he can give us valuable insight in it. No sense in spending an extra hour knocking heads.
yeah, but we don't, you don't want him to
I
feel like
know.
he's been not, given a heads up.
No, we won't do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Good seeing you, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good night,
Yeah.
everybody.
Very
very
well.
Hope everyone stays healthy
Everybody.
Yeah.
as they can.
Sue
And
Ellen.
safe.
Sue Ellen. On that day, on the 6th, what's a good morning or afternoon?
I'm saying
Late
good night.
morning, early afternoon. I've got a doctor's appointment at 4:30.
Okay. So Jeff, let's coordinate our calendar.
Okay, so I could, okay, yeah, okay, yep. I'll send you, I'll see. Let me look here. while we're just standing here together.
Okay,
I have a meeting at 1 that will end at 2. So the earliest I could really do it would be 2:30 that day.
well, Will and you and I can start, and Jeff, you can join us. Or we can do it late morning. Before your 1 o'clock.
Okay, if that works best.
Okay,
Uh,
look at your
I'll-
calendar, we'll figure it out.
I'll do mine an email before the 6th.
Great.
Okay. All right, guys.
All right. Thanks for the work that was done.
Thanks for all the work. It's awful good work.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
See you
Good night.
soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.